Should I repeat all that so we have it in the recording?
Yeah, probably.
I had a feeling. I knew I should have said it
Yeah.
before.
Well,
Okay.
what we should do is right at 8 o'clock, whenever we start the meeting, regardless of anybody's here or not, we should just record so that way we have everything, so we don't have to ask
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
in the
can you show,
future.
can you show me some of your concepts that you have already, Dan?
Oh, I don't really have too many concepts. I mean, I can send you the list of here. Hold on. What my idea was.
Okay.
I'm gonna post it in the chat. Give me a second.
Okay.
All right, so that was copy and pasted from the chat between me, Slayer, and Dragon, where I was asking him about the HUD, you know,
All right.
and
I'm just
then
waiting.
it's in there. It's in the general chat on the main part of the server.
That's where it is.
Okay.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
Pin
And
that.
then you can like respond to it, you know, so that way I have like a document to follow, you know, and it doesn't have to be like a what I want to say. It doesn't have to be a image document. It can just be like just respond like how you want the HUD, like what you want in the HUD, and then I'll work on uh getting something to look similar to what you're wanting, you know. So.
I understand.
But I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I addressed that because like the only thing that I'd really worked on so far was the menu, and I can still make updates to that yet, but the HUD would be something later that would need to be implemented. So, and I
Yeah,
don't
I
think you got
understand.
anybody else working UI UX right now. So
Right. I I should. How come I didn't really think there would be like an experience bar, to tell you the truth. I felt like it would be I felt like it wasn't needed at the time. But I would like to open up to discussion if other people disagree with that.
I mean, I just put it at do you want any of these, because then that way if you do, you know, you can just voice that, hey, yes, I'd like this, and then I can implement it, you know.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
basically
but
I can't implement it without permission first, you know. So that's the main thing is I don't want to be making it mine. I want to, you know, follow your idea of what you have, since it was your original game idea. I want to kind of follow your vision for it, if that makes sense.
I understand. Like the experience bar was the only thing that felt more optional. That's why I said like I felt like we could open that to discussion. But the objective list that's definitely going to be needed because I was experienced. I mean, I was decided there will be like some side quests that you could do, but until like we get to like that, the side quests are more like add-ons until we focus on the main quests.
Well, what I was thinking, I can do something like that, but for a side scroll, it might be a little bit hard to do. So I was thinking more like a simple objective system. So what I mean by that is I set up a widget, and in the widget, the collision box is in there, and basically the text is in the collision box. And when the player collides with the collision box, the objective updates. And basically, like in your levels, and you'll see as you go, because I've done a side scroller before. As you go in your levels, you can place specific things in specific parts of your level, but um, basically the objective will stay the same in one area, but then like say you want the objective to change when you get to another area where they can collide at, and you know they've already finished the first objective, then you can put it at the end there, and then your objective will update, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, that's why. That's how it was envisioned, like how the objectives would be like. Anyway,
Because, like, to
um,
give an example, if I put um,
you have
objective, let's see, hold on, I'm trying to think. Get to this platform and beat this guy, and then you beat this said guy on the said platform, and at the end of that platform, then before you jump off onto the next one or you get to the next area, the objective updates and be like, get to the end of the level and fight the boss, or get this certain pickup, or get a certain amount of coins. You know what I mean? Like
right.
basically whatever objective you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
think I understand what you mean. It will be like if you if you ever collide with this collision object, it will start listing on the type of objectives you should look for.
well, it would really just change the current objective from the one you have on screen already to the new one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So it wouldn't just be like a quest list where you can like open a list and it updates as you go. That's like a more in-depth one, but the one I'm talking about would have
It's
your
more
objective on the
simplified.
screen. Yeah, it would have your objective on the screen already from the first one that you collide with, and then basically it won't update until you collide with the next objective, if that makes sense.
That does. Yeah, that could.
Because to give you
Yeah,
an example of how I did it before in a game that I've done outside of a side scroller, I made it where in a game like Rampage, I don't know if you played Rampage at all, but there basically where you destroy the city and destroy buildings and whatnot. And this particular, what I did was, uh, you started out in a jail. You get your first objective when you cross the collision box. Tells you where your first building target is. You go destroy that building. You get the collectible, and the objective updates to the next building you needed to destroy.
right.
So basically, same idea here is, like coins is a little bit of a broad objective, because of course players are already going to know to collect coins or whatever. But like, um, say you have something specific that you want to get done, then you can do that, but make sure the objective points out exactly, or make sure it's pointed at, you know, uh, not a general objective, but like a more pointed objective, if that makes sense.
That does.
Fight this guy and kill him, or get this said weapon, or get to this platform, or you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I feel like that would be useful, especially when we start working with setting up the bosses and mini bosses. So yeah, that would work perfectly. Also,
Okay. And you
uh,
can put as many or as little objectives as you want with the simplified one. It just wouldn't be like a quest base where the quest updates as you go. This is more like just you set a bunch of objectives in your level, as many or as little as you want, and then it updates when you cross the next collision box.
I understand. Uh,
All right.
what I was about to say next was the key card or item or key item pickup. That also will be needed as well. So again, because basically there will be some objectives where we like again we'll use like the objective system saying look for the key card, and like once you get it we're gonna need an indication that the player actually holding on to it, because if they pick it up and don't have the indication they will basically be like they will get confused as heck.
Oh yeah, of course. And having that in your UI makes makes it a lot easier for the player, where they know exactly what's what.
And for the stamina bar, I feel like I could go 50-50 on that one, tell you the truth. At first I was, because I can see how it can be useful into like creating like dashes or like, I mean, creating like a system to help the player not go too fast or not always be able to run all the time and actually forces the player to walk.
Hmm.
But I just the other reason why I didn't want it was because, well, that's the reason why I want it, but the reason I didn't want it was because I, after playing Genshin Impact before, I just really hated the idea of having a stamina bar. I can see how it
Okay.
can be helpful, but I can also see how much annoyance it can be. I mean, seriously, you have to climb so high of mountains and just wait until your stamina refills. It became annoying. But I feel like there's games that have done better job at showing off their stamina bars than Genshin Impact. And I played them before, but I just can't remember them because of how bad the recent one been to me. Ugh.
All right, so yes on the key card, key item pickup. Yes on the objective, stamina bar, not so much.
As a, I'll say yeah. I'll say yes as a test phase.
All right.
If it
The main thing that I would want the stamina, if I was gonna do a stamina bar, I know that the character is only gonna move so fast, of course, unless like say you pick up a power up and the character can move faster. But what the idea for the stamina bar for me was like when you use a weapon to do a hit, then it uses stamina from the player to hit whatever they're fighting. You know.
right,
Let's see here. Experience bar and level up. You said you're not really feeling that one too much.
yeah, I'm not really feeling with the experience bar. I mean, like when there is going to be like an item in the shop that you're supposed to look for to upgrade this, like the shop, so you can get better stuff. But like, I'm not really thinking like we'll need like a full on experience bar or levels.
Okay. And then the weapon slot. Did you want like for? Because that was a touchy one for me. Single or choose because basically I would assume each world you're gonna have specific weapons of certain kinds, and you're gonna have different ones for different areas. They're not gonna be the same in each area. So we can do it like singular slot, or we can do it like a double slot. You know, where you have like two weapons for each world or area. I was kind of wondering your input on that.
I was there. I was thinking that like that it was just one weapon that Ko kept on using. Like he didn't really switch out to different ones. I can't
Okay, so it's the
imagine.
same one throughout the game.
Yeah, I know it sounds kind of boring, but I felt like it was something that was implemented throughout the rest of the levels. I mean,
Sure.
the idea, if like we have more time and we can play on that, I will like to have like the idea that he could use like different versions of weapons throughout different realities. I mean, not
Hmm.
realities. Nice.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, so
And what about that last one, the ammo? Are you like um with this specific weapon you're using? Does it have ammo or no?
Well, me and Cosmo did came up with one mini boss where I want a turret now. I just want a turret that you can just hop on into the game. So yeah, that's probably gonna be needed because like with the mini boss, war the warship one for the space level, you're going to have to fight it like how I envisioned it was that you fight this boss at in like uh a 2D type of shooting range while you're on the turret of your own ship. Probably like I could say like Galaga, or am I correct? That's how, if that's the right name for it. Galaga, Glassica.
Galaga. Yep.
Galaga, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, it'll go straight into like a Galaga type of fighting for like a short mini game as you try to destroy this warship. And I've the reason I did that was because I felt like each, like with the mini bosses and the actual bosses, we could like switch it up and like make the way how to defeat them a lot different in each world.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the digital, well, the cyberpunk world, you'll have to look for the mini bosses. In this one, there's four of them, but like they both, like, they're not all that different from each other. Like they differ in like what they specialized in, but like you just have to look for them, and it'll be like a side quest that like you have to go search out throughout the world for these four bosses.
Okay.
And how would you want the HUDs for the enemies? Or you said you want turrets and things like that. So make out a list of like enemies you want and things like that. So that way, whenever you make the blueprints for them, I can make specific health bars or whatever for them. You know that you might need. I'm just not sure exactly how you'd want it yet, but maybe for like turrets, you could have like. You could have a shield on the turrets that you have to destroy the shield first before you can destroy the turret itself. That would be an interesting feature.
I guess they stopped reading the mind because we already been working on that. We made a whole detailed list. I think it was because we didn't post it in the general chat that you probably didn't see it.
And let's see, and then the if you have any other enemy ideas and stuff as well, you know, feel free to throw them in there. But I'm kind of curious, other than a health bar, what other features you might need for a HUD for enemies. Because obviously you're talking about a turret, but I don't know what else you might be looking for.
I'll show you. I'll just open it right now.
That's the enemy details that you put in the chat, right, Zeke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to see it? If they can't see it clearly, you guys have it right here, and I'll zoom in. We came up with a bunch of different enemies over time, and I'll say like, can you guys see?
Yeah, I can see now.
Okay, like we came up with a bunch of different enemies. One of the things that I know that we needed was like a common enemy, so we thought of a warlock and an elemental being the common enemies in each world, but they differ between like the type of elements they use.
Okay. Mhm.
And each like slot where we talk about their abilities, like what they do other than a melee attack or range attack, they start doing like some of these specialized attack that Cosmo commented to make. Like I explain what they do, like he commented each one to explain like what they will actually do, so you guys can get a better understanding of what to expect.
Uh-huh.
And I could go over each one if you want, but this is a long list. Are you sure?
I mean, you already posted it here in the chat. So I'll definitely take a look over that later. Can you also put it in the regular general chat too?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I will too.
Yeah, because once we're done in the VC, I don't even look at the VC chat, to be honest. So.
Okay.
So for me, if I have access to it and I relook at that, oh yeah, I've got to look that over, you know? Then I can like look it over, and if I see something, you know, I'll make a suggestion, you know. It doesn't mean we have to go with the suggestion I give. It's just that if I look over something, then if I'm not sure, I'll ask about it. Kind of thing.
I understand. Just one sec, and it should be there now.
Okay, cool.
Okay. But there's one thing I did want to say. There was one group of bot enemies that I came up with that I gave them a really funny reason why I came up with them, and that's the Wrecking Crew orcs. But shoot, I spoiled it. I gave one of them is small, and he's basically got a Napoleon complex. The other one is big, but he's strong as heck and slow. And the other one's a technical support who helps both of them by increasing like their defense. And I just got a question for everyone. What do you think they're based off of? If you could see them in like any TV show or something.
Ooh. Considering you have 3 Wrecking Crew orcs, probably Ed and Eddie.
You saw the message, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I based it off of them because like I just thought like since they destroy so much, it would be kind of funny having them like have a version of them as enemies. But other than that, there's also like another section where we talk about like the boss details, where it goes more in details of each boss and their mini bosses as well. And unlike the regular enemies, they have like some regular enemies will have either 1 or 2 abilities, but like the mini bosses and like bosses span into like having actual just 2 abilities, or they will have like 4 abilities in total.
I'm sorry to ask again. I know we're already kind of gone past this. I can always look it up later. But ammo, did you say yes or no on that one?
I said yes because like we can't use it for like some of the as a trap and actual like would it be like a support item in the world when you think of it? Like would you think of a turret that you can hop on as a support item?
I mean, technically.
I mean, yeah,
yes.
you could for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just trying to get an idea of what you want the HUD to have, because I mean, I'm gonna have to get different icons, gonna have to use different bars for all the different things, and
I understand.
all that stuff's gonna be it's all gonna be important,
Yeah, I understand. Like the turrets will basically be more like when we get into like the industrial true out to space level, but like the Jurassic and medieval and are the only 2 that won't actually utilize the turrets. They will basically not utilize those at all, to tell you the truth. It's more like when you go into like the more future and more advanced worlds, they will utilize stuff like that.
So, did you want all enemies to have like their shields and stuff, or did you want just like the turrets to be like that?
Nah. All enemies will have like their own shields and like they will have like their own health as well.
Okay. So enemies and turrets will be like that. Okay.
Right.
Health bar, armor bar. And then did you want an ammo remaining count for them as well, so you have an idea, or no?
Not for the enemies, because like I think it would be better for it if it kept on being a mystery. So like, you will tell like when they actually start reloading and stuff, because like they'll have like an endless supply while the player would have like a remaining supply.
All right. So I went ahead and replied to my thing to give me a better idea as well. You know, I can always refer back to the video if need be for later.
Yeah, okay.
But I really like what you're doing here with this actual, you know, detailed thing with all these enemies and what they do and all that stuff. So that's really handy and helpful. So
No problem.
I'm also going to pin this reply to just to make it easier to find. Okay, and okay. Did we add anything different to the main boss details?
We gave more we gave more details to like the actual abilities of the mini bosses. I'm gonna say sub bosses. It's still the same though.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Okay.
And oh yeah,
so-
that's what I forgot. Sorry about this. We just forgot that. Yeah, some of the stuff was hidden because like we needed room to like see where we was working with. There we
no
go.
worries.
Yeah, this just shows off like how we picture how fast the boss was moving, the defenses, the weak points, and the type and the health.
Okay.
really in depth.
Thank you.
It's actually
And
really in depth. So
right. And that's the same for like the enemy details. So we accidentally I forgot that we hid like what their weakness of elements are.
okay.
But I put that back in. As I'm double checking, that should be everything that was hidden. Other than that, do anybody got any more questions?
Okay.
No, I think that should do for now. You did post the document in the main chat, right?
Right.
Right. So
And
I can
Slayer-
look that over later if need be.
Yeah. I was about to say, and I think Slayer pinned it as well.
Pinned
But
what?
other than that, I stop sharing my screen.
Let me
I believe that like
pin
this
that
Saturday,
so I
me
have
and Cosmo are going to meet up to discuss to see any more concept of levels that we will work on this week. But is there anything else you guys want us to work on, as in system wise, or other things that might be needed that was similar to the enemy details?
I don't think so. Can you think of anything off the top of your head, Dan, that we might need that's kind of similar to the enemy details?
You have everything outlined, right? You have all of your bosses, you have all your enemies, you have. Did you have turrets on there as well? Since you said that might be a new idea, Zeke.
That was recent, so I'll put that in the design document right now. Because I
Okay.
literally just thought
Yeah.
about that right now when you mentioned the ammo detail.
So yeah, you could always write up stuff for the turret this week for the game, and then the next thing outside of that though is once we start actually getting some progress made in game is getting the code for all these things to work. So
Yes, and
that's
part
gonna
of
be
that
you.
part of that will be blueprints, and part of that will be the C++, which I will work on. I need to consult my C++ sources to try and figure out how to do all that. On the C++ side, anyway. But I will definitely try to start on that this week.
Sounds like a
I'll
plan.
see if I can draw up a HUD for you this week, so that way we can get a good placement of where things are going to be at. Because I want it to be where you want it, but also where it'll be a good visual representation for the player when they go through.
All right.
Okay. And I obviously have not started on the C++ code. I need to consult my C++ knowledge base stuff and start working on enemies stuff as far as the C++ code goes, and outlining all of the bosses and mini bosses and their health and defenses and stuff. So I'll have to do that research. Teo did ask earlier if the weapons that the modelers were making were for the enemies. Just because you had mentioned that you wanted Ko to use one weapon as far as equipped weapons go in the game through all of the worlds.
Yeah, I was expecting like that the weapons that they were making was like more for the enemies, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
And again, like if we do like have more time and like can like implement more like animations with Ko using different weapons, I would like to see that happen like in the future. But I say right now to stick with like just focusing on just getting his main weapon down, and then like we can just focus on doing that with the rest of the enemies as well.
And his main weapon is going to be the staff, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, as far as the types of attacks that he can do with the staff, what are thoughts there on?
I was thinking that he will do more of a melee, more like a chain melee attack. Sometimes he can charge up elements onto his staff, so he can utilize them with his melee attacks. Some like I felt like there will be like some points where you can unlock those types of abilities when you actually get like to the shop and buy those abilities throughout the shop.
Okay.
And like,
so
but he will have like a standard range attack where he can shoot like an element from a far distance. And when he gets a time gem ability, he can like switch that to like start shooting with the with the time gem's ability instead.
okay, and that's where the hourglass shape in the HUD comes into play with the. Okay, that's okay. Just so I'm understanding how we want things, so I can try to visualize how to go about those things.
Right. If you want me to write down to give more detail, I don't mind.
Yeah, that would probably be helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Just so I have a general idea on what we were thinking for Ko with his staff and all that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make sure. Like, I still have the. I'll make sure to put like the. Because I forgot to do this. Put the game design document into like the general chat, and I will also get started on writing a more detailed version of his melee of how he fights in the game as like a separate document.
That is a good question, Dan. For the shop, what kinds of items will open, and when will certain things open in the shop?
Basically, I said that in like the design chat. I mean, not design chat. I mean, game design document where I visioned that like certain items that you can get in the shop would be like, where is it? I know it's somewhere right here.
Okay.
Here it is. Like some of the items you can buy in the shop will be like health potions, like barrier spells, which would technically be like the shield for Ko. And if it gets hit like 3 times, the barrier's just gone. And it will be like stuff like mana recovery, which would increase the speed of like how much his spells, like how much his mana recharges. And there was other stuff. I felt like over time I would come up with like more ideas, and then I came up with like I think that was that was one of the things I forgot to add in, the idea of him getting like more types of spells like in the shop that would change up his fighting style. That was a recent idea that I had that I forgot to add into this design documentation. But I'll make sure to add that in there as well.
Okay.
During this week.
So.
Is there? I felt like I was confusing a lot of people right there.
Okay. Where do we have information about the shop in?
The shop information is located in the asset item list. Right about here.
That's page 13, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I see. So I see time gems and time magic.
Yeah, it's just above that.
Just above it. Okay, let me see. Okay, so okay, we should probably have information on how the shops are upgraded and where the different level shops appear in each world.
1 sec.
Just because that's not really clear from where we have things listed here. That is one thing I did just notice.
Okay.
How many lives are going to be in each world?
How many lives?
Yeah.
I want it to be like a standard 3, but there are places where you will find like extra lives.
Makes sense, yeah. Get a certain amount of coins or do something specific to get extra lives.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other than that, I don't think we have.
If you want us to work on a more detailed shop list, then we can do that. while also working on a more detailed melee attacks. I mean, like attack system.
Yeah, that'd be good because then that way I know what opens when, and so basically as I'm making the shop, certain items won't be available till later, and other ones will be. So I'm gonna need to know which to reference, like what's gonna open where and how.
Yeah.
The
I
time is
understand.
7 o'clock p.m.
Also, I'm gonna put into the chat, into the general chat, the world details that we came up with.
Okay.
I felt like it wasn't. It was just not there at the old in the
Okay,
um,
let
past chat.
me pin that one.
If there's any other documentations I'm forgetting, I don't think there is this time.
No, I think that's all we had so far was the GDD, the world level details, and the enemy details that I asked you and Cosmo to work on, so I had a general framework on what to work on in the C++ code. Other than
Okay.
that, everything that we discussed this meeting does need to get worked on for specifically the turret ideas and how and when certain level shops get upgraded and where they appear and all of that.
And the other question is, are you gonna have a shop guy? Or are you gonna have like a general store that doesn't have anybody there? It's just like something you interact with. How do you
Uh,
want to?
I want a shop guy in there. He's different
Okay,
than each mirror.
okay.
Okay.
I
So we
felt
can
like his
definitely.
family was like running it for generations.
I mean, you could always have a backstory for your characters. You're gonna have a story writer for that, though. So, but as far as the functionality, though, is all I was aiming for there.
No, I understand.
All right. Well, I think that covers everything. I appreciate all the stuff that you guys are doing. Um, Peter and Top Note, what you guys got going on this week that have been this past week?
I don't think we have had anything for Peter to animate and rig yet, so project wise, we haven't had anything for Peter to do as of yet. And I think, if I remember correctly, Teo said he was going to work on the flamethrower at last meeting. Yeah. Okay. So
That reminds me, I should check in with Savage to see if he's still working on the main character's model.
yeah.
Do you already have somebody working on the character model for Co?
I talked with Savage to do it, but he was busy with his move and stuff.
All right. Let me see if I can talk to Helena. She does character stuff pretty good.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
1 second. I'm gonna tag her real quick.
Because I haven't heard from Savage in a while. To tell you the truth. I felt like he was in one of the meetings before.
Okay. Do we know how long it'll take for the models that Peter has to rig to be ready, so that we have a timestamp for him on when he can actually start doing his animation and rigging stuff?
As far as other ideas, who other artists do you have on the team here? And that's what I want to know more about specifically.
You're talking.
Who do you have working on models? Who do you have working on characters? Who do you have doing what?
So modelers would be Savage. Okay, she is a specialized staff, but she is also a modeler. We have Hallie. We have Teo, and we have Marley for modelers specifically. Soli is specifically a modeler for Second Life stuff that we intend to do in the future. So she is not going to be part of the actual game dev stuff, but we do have plans for her. As far as everything else, there is myself, Akiri, and Markevian Jones as programmers.
Mm-hmm.
We have Zoe, or Mystic Aurora, and Jack as our writers, but we have not heard from Jack in a while. For concept artists, that would be Miss Raven and Vapehav. And I think that's it, other than the level designers, our audio lead advisor, John, who goes by Heathen in the server, and our cybersecurity specialist, Austin, and then we obviously have all of our level designers, which would be Cosmo, Zeke, Sopping Wet Camel, if he is still with us, I'm not sure. And then we have other advisors, mainly Statics, Salem, and you and Brian for advisors.
Well, the only reason why I need to know that stuff is, for modelers, you're gonna need. It sounds like for Top Nut that he's gonna need the model for the flamethrower, to be able to start actually doing all the coding for that. It sounds like.
Yeah. So.
And then of course having a character to attach the flamethrower to, which that would be. Helena just joined. I mean, she's been doing character stuff for me, and I think that she could do the character you want. But Zeke, I was tagging you in the main chat. Maybe if you can give her a better description of what you're looking for Co, then you can have her work on that this week, and she can get something knocked out pretty quick. So.
Yeah. There was like a meeting that I did with Savage when I talked about it, and like I was looking for the recording of like when I was giving off the better description. I'm trying to remember what I said for the whole thing as well, but I feel like this can help out a lot for it. And I'll just post it in the chat.
If you get some progress with the character and then the weapons and stuff, then then the rest of the stuff will start coming together. But it starts with getting a character and at least like a weapon and an enemy, and of course like a temporary level, like a test level put together. You don't have to have like a bunch of levels, just like one to test out to see if your things are working.
I understand. I think I already added like a test level for that in the. Yeah, I did. That was the first level I actually made in there.
All right. Well, then the next thing is, since you already have a test level, then character, the character having a weapon, an enemy with a health bar, which I can on getting the HUD stuff set up for those things, but yeah. And then, like, say if the enemy takes a certain amount of damage, that they'll die and then their body will disappear, kind of thing.
Okay,
So,
can I also put that link to that design character meeting in the team meeting recordings? Just so
Thanks.
it is easier to find.
Yeah, I literally thought I already put that in there. Sorry, Slayer.
That was the
I
conference
don't
room
mean to
chat. So.
interrupt. Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet. Sorry.
Why
You're
not
good.
speak?
You're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna find out. Do you guys know what the character is gonna be like and what we're looking at? Is he gonna feel realistic? Do you know what his foundation is?
And I was thinking like for some reason anime are sometimes like realistic. I don't know which. To tell you the truth, I was thinking like a blend of it, in some sense.
So, are you thinking of something from Arch Legends?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was thinking something from Arc Legends. I had like a whole reference list. A reference in my Pinterest, and I think I think it was still pinned in the general chat. If not, I'll look it up again.
Teo, I would have to ask Miss Raven or Vabehav on if there is a concept art for the main character that we're going to be playing as in the game. So I will have to get back to you on that after I ask later this week. If we have concept art, I'll make sure to... Yeah, I figured that's why you asked. So if we have the concept art, I'll make sure all the modelers have the concept art, so that if you're up for it, Hallie, you can start designing Ko as a character. That way we have
Of course,
something
I was
for
just
Peter
trying
to
to
do.
figure out what his foundation was gonna be, but I just wasn't quite sure. I mean, I don't mind modeling him. I'm all for doing a little bit of learning. So this is gonna be exciting.
Right.
I really gotta organize that Pinterest. See, yeah, most of the character references that I thought for Ko was based off of the stuff I had on my Pinterest, and I'll put that in the general chat too. And basically, most of it is at the bottom. I found like what I wanted him to look like, or something that could be used as reference for like his hat or his clothes, stuff like that.
So, Zeke, if I may, would it be good if I just maybe perhaps look for reference? Because this is something I did for Dan and stuff like that. And so,
Okay. If you want to look for your own references,
So,
then that's
like, what we did is I just posted the references and stuff like that. And then if you see something that calls to you, you would say, oh, this picture would be perfect for a part of the character. It's just some ideas. You know what I mean?
okay. I can work with that. That's better, actually.
This way it can kind of help you out a little bit and you don't feel confused. And this way I'm just this way we're figuring out together, like, man, what does his foundation look like? This way we can brainstorm together through references, you know?
Sounds perfect to me.
Awesome. So what does his foundation look like? I can do a quick overview of some references and I can post them.
His foundation looks similar to like you want me to share the reference that I was thinking of for his foundation?
Is this like Mario?
More like that anime character mixed with that Mario in 3D form.
Yeah, let me see him.
Okay. 1 sec, I'm just showing it off right now. If my computer shows off images faster than I do. Okay. Like similar to like this, but mixed with the Mario image. If I go back, I think I went too fast though. Stop me if I'm going too fast, okay?
Oh, yeah, you're doing good so far.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And let me just scroll all the way down. I wanted to have like similar type of shade effects like you see in like Borderlands.
Oh,
When it comes
nice.
when it comes to the 3D model, and I wanted to have it. I don't know why I thought this, but it looked kind of cool to me, and I felt like it could be a good foundation on his overall build. But how I imagine like he dresses as he will have like wizard robes that would be similar to these two.
So are you thinking a little bit of mix of both of these concepts, maybe?
Yeah, and instead of a hood, he has like a giant wizard's hat on his head,
Oh, nice.
like similar to these images where they show off the hats. I want his colors to be like black and red with like accents of gold. And for his staff, I just imagine it to be similar to like the Riddler staff or like wizard staff, but like at the very tip of this end, it will show off like a clock hanging off of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do we have anything
And I want him
else?
to wear glasses, just like round glasses.
Okay. Anything else we need to grab in the recording before I stop it?
So similar references, you want me to just kind of, I mean, he's like a male wizard. Possibly his foundation is pretty much short, kind of like Mario, correct?
Yeah, kind of short for his height.
Oh, nice. Like maybe
You can say like
if
you
we're
can
thinking
say-
like Mario kind of thing.
Yeah, I was thinking like his height would be somewhere around like 5'7" or 5'8".
Oh, nice.
Okay, anything else we need to add into the recording before I shut it off?
Nope, I think you're good for right now.